Welcome, everybody. Today, we're going to be talking about using customer experiences to drive retention. In a remote world, our customers crave authentic interactions that build meaningful relationships. So humanizing our approach across the entire customer journey is more important now more than ever. Our session is going to talk to you about incorporating great customer experiences in onboarding, renewal, support, and NPS in order to drive retention. We're going to focus on three specific areas: customer milestones and strategies to create amazing experiences, tips on how to stay aligned with your marketing team, and metrics to measure the success of your CX program. But before I jump too much into the presentation, let me introduce myself. I'm Allie Temple-Tiscornia, and I'm the Chief Customer Officer at Sendoso. Sendoso is the leading sending platform that allows you to automate the concept of direct mail by creating physical impressions and human connections at strategic points in the customer lifecycle. But really, the best part of Sendoso is that you can actually measure ROI for anything you send. So why does customer experience matter? Well, let's talk a little bit about what customer experience actually is before we dive into why it matters. Customer experience is the culmination of every interaction your customer has with your product or service during the duration of their relationship with your company. So why is customer experience so important? Well, every single one of those interactions matter. In 2018, a marketing research firm conducted a study of over 100,000 consumers of 100 different companies. And of the respondents, they found that those consumers with an emotional connection to a brand had a significantly higher lifetime value than their nearest competitor. A PwC research study from 2018 concluded that consumers found that their experience with a company was actually more meaningful than really great advertising. And that many of the respondents actually thought that the experience with the customer was more significant than price in their buying decisions. 42% of respondents in that PwC study said they would actually pay more for a friendly, welcoming experience. What does that say about the interaction with customers today? Does human connection matter to customers? I think it absolutely does. Customers want a more meaningful relationship with the companies that they do business with. So humanizing our approach across the entire customer journey is more important now than ever. Surprise and delight often feels like an overplayed concept in customer success. We've all heard those terms before, but it simply can't be taken for granted. Think about how many times in your professional or your personal life a company has really gone above and beyond to exceed your expectations or done something unexpected for you. We know surprise and delight is critical, but how many businesses actually programatize it? There are so many different opportunities for customer success professionals to highlight personal connection in their everyday life. How often do you send a personalized thank you note to your customer when they advocate for your company? Do you reward your customers when they completed product training? Do you leverage those churn zero notifications to reach out to your customers when their health score drops to see what's going on? Do you invite them to coffee, a virtual coffee, to discuss what's happening? And yet, even though we know surprise and delight is so important, how many of you have actually experienced that email that you get for a vendor that has pretty much ignored you through most of the year, but 60 days or 30 days out from renewal, they happen to send you the most important and impersonal email that you've ever read about your auto renewal. That's why creating touch points with customers and reasons to talk at every stage of the life cycle is so critical. And it can't just be done with auto-generated email campaigns. We need to be more creative and more passionate about how we reach out to our customers. Thanking, delighting, and surprising our customers, though, is not enough. Once we have their attention, we have to drive value in our conversations. We have to come to them with data that matters and insights that drive their business outcomes. But more importantly than all of that, we have to be able to listen to customers. And it's not about anticipating the next question. It's about listening and understand what they're actually saying to you. We know as CS professionals what our customers' critical milestones are. We've all done our customer journey mapping. We know exactly which critical touch points we have in our customer's life cycle. Of course, onboarding, adoption, renewal, 3 of the primary ones. Onboarding and implementation is probably the most critical time for your customer. We know most of our customers who will be successful and who will be at risk within the first 90 days of their experience with your company. Onboarding is the perfect time to let your customer know how proud and excited you are for them when they've completed their onboarding successfully. It's also a critical time to say those 3 most important words, I am sorry if their experience hasn't gone well. If you acknowledge that to the customer and know what you're going to do to fix how their onboarding experience went, you can save customers right then and right there. Never be afraid to use those 3 most important words. I am sorry. When it comes to adoption, right now, everybody is suffering from Zoom fatigue. Nobody needs another Zoom meeting. But we still need to conduct our QBRs. Think about offering to set up a virtual lunch with your customer to go over their business objectives and their strategic goals for the next quarter, just like you would buy them lunch if you were there in person. And most importantly, when your customers renew, thank them. And I don't mean just by sending them an email that says thank you. Think about really coming up with a program that thanks your customers for doing business with you. Maybe it's something from your CEO, maybe it's something from your head of customer success, or maybe it's something directly from you. Thank yous go a long way. My passion happens to be around our customers who churn. I think breaking up well is just as important as closing that initial sale. We like to send handwritten thank you notes to every customer that leaves us, thanking them for their time that they spent with us and letting them know how much we appreciate them. Our industry is such a small one. Your churned customer today could be your champion tomorrow, depending on how well you say goodbye. Along with creating a humane breaking up experience, my next passion in life is support teams. These folks have the hardest job at your company. Even if you think you have it rough as a CSM, nobody calls, emails, or chats support to tell them what a great product they have or what an awesome experience they are having doing business with your company. Find ways to empower your support team to make customer benefiting decisions in the moment. Allow your frontline staff to take the time to brighten your customer's day. Take advantage of those little moments. We have seen this work with support associates who send their customers an e-gift when the queue starts to back up and wait times get too long. Sometimes doing something special doesn't take a lot. Something that doesn't cost your company a thing is to ensure that your support personnel or your CS staff take a minute to wish a customer happy birthday when it's their birthday. If you have access to that data, use it. You'd be surprised how much people enjoy being acknowledged, even if they don't go so far as to tell you how old they are. These things, these small little things, are important. And these are the opportunities you can create to make moments that matter for your customer. To me, though, the best thing about implementing programs like this for your support team is that it empowers your company's employees. Giving employees opportunities to make customers happy, either by allowing them to make those customer-centric decisions in the moment, or giving them tools to make someone happy, drives excitement and engagement in your employee base. And it cannot be said enough that happy and engaged employees always equal happy customers. I'm sure you've experienced plenty of times where you've called a support organization where you know that employee isn't excited to be there that day. Think about what a great experience it would be to be calling a support organization where that person was absolutely excited about their job and how much they wanted to help you. We can't say enough these days about acting with empathy. Empathy is important now more than ever. Knowing your customer base and treating them like the human beings they are drive connection. If you know your customer base has been dramatically impacted by COVID, offer to donate to a charity the customer is sponsoring, or offer to match donations. Get your executive team to rally around a customer cause. I've seen countless executive teams personally donate money from their own pockets to customer causes that they feel a connection to or know how important it is to their customer. And this probably goes without saying, but I'll say it anyway. Marketing is your friend. Sometimes we don't think enough in CS about how to leverage marketing. We sometimes think that marketing is just focused on the acquisition of new customers, but most marketing teams are just as invested in retention as they are in acquisition. But talking to customers is different than talking to prospects. Customers know what they know because they've been using your product. Prospects don't know what they don't know. Make sure your marketing team is focused on answering your customers' questions. Ask your marketing team to put themselves in the shoes of the customer. Make sure that they answer the question the way the customer thinks about it, not simply talking about the value prop. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. Recently, we released a really cool feature that was easy to market to prospects. But when we implemented it with customers, it took a little bit of A/B testing and some tweaking to get them the results they were looking for. It wasn't that marketing didn't want to help us with our messaging, but it was just this was a new feature and it needed to be released in the wild for all of us to understand how it worked. That feedback that we gave marketing was so invaluable. Once they saw that the feature needed a little bit of tweaking in production or a little bit of A/B testing done by the customer, they knew exactly how to message that, both for prospects and for customers. That's why we as a CS team meet weekly with our marketing team to go over feedback like that. Your relationship with marketing is critical. Can you tell I'm a fan of marketing departments? I find it especially helpful to partner with marketing when it comes to customers who are up for renewal. Our marketing team has done such a great job at helping us create personalized small customer events. Once again, none of us need another Zoom meeting, but people really love right now virtual experiences. And I'm not talking about another Zoom happy hour. I'm talking about truly curated events that appeal to your customers. Something like a wine tasting event with a professional sommelier, a cooking class with a professional chef, or a guided painting session with an artist. What a cool way to interact with your customer. Sponsoring an event like this allows you to derive connection, and it still allows you to slip in a couple of side comments on product utilization and adoption. But don't forget, what gets measured gets done. So whatever methodology you choose, whatever program you choose to implement, make sure you look at what kind of impact it's having on your customer base. Think about what you are setting out to achieve and set your metrics up around those goals. Are you trying to get your retention numbers up? Is NPS a driving factor for you? What about CSAT for your support team? Maybe you just need to engage more with your customers. Maybe you just have to have more conversations. What does the goal actually look like? But most importantly, don't forget to tweak things. You may not see the results you want with your first program, and that's okay. Keep experimenting. If your program doesn't get exactly what you want, it's okay. Just remember that everything you do to drive better customer experience matters, no matter how small. Your customers are asking you for it. Thanks very much for your time. And now I'm super excited to answer any of your questions. The first one from Morgan, if you're budget restricted, what are some great free gifting ideas? I think one of the things we like is charity choice. So allowing your customers to give something to a charity is a really great idea. Also, one of the things I mentioned before, literally like just saying happy birthday to your customers makes a huge difference. Handwritten notes, that's also something that you can just do on your own. It takes a lot of time, but it's definitely worthwhile, and it creates those moments that matter. Okay. This was an interesting one from Sherry. At what point is giving gifts illegal, though? So I think you have to be pretty thoughtful about what your own company's gifting policy is, and then also what your customers' gifting policy is. I know the federal government, certainly if you have customers in the federal government, they have very restrictive gifting policies, but usually those can be ameliorated through swag. So swag is a great way to do that, and usually it's something under $50 I think is pretty acceptable. Hopefully that answered the anti-bribery rules. The other question I see is, what is our take on organizing events, co-hosted podcasts, webinars? Do these drive retention? I don't know if webinars and podcasts, I think they're definitely essential and they're very effective in communicating with your customers. But again, I think you want to drive a more personalized experience. That's really why we like things like virtual events in terms of that are geared towards experiences. So one of the most popular things we see right now is this wine tasting with a sommelier. That has just exploded. People are super excited about that. I think anything that you can do that actually is more focused on a connection. So I know recently I did actually just with my team, this wasn't even with my customers, but with my team, we did a virtual painting event where we sent out canvases to everybody. And then had a professional artist come in and teach us how to paint. Something was such a huge hit. And I think customers would love something like that as well. I think we also have, how big is the Sendoso team? Do you leverage your own platform to engage and keep customers happy? Absolutely, we do. Our team is about 16 CSMs. Then we have a support function as well as onboarding. So we're roughly about 45 people, and that's just on the post-sale side. We absolutely encourage our CSMs to send gifts, and then we do things through our marketing team that are much more strategic and focused on particular customers as well as different points in the life cycle. This is a great question. So how do you know the best gift to give to your customers? Is it good to give options or should it be a surprise gift? I think it really should be about the surprise. I don't know that I enjoy the option as much. It doesn't feel as personalized. So I think the idea of you taking a moment to come up with something for your customer is just much more meaningful. So I would prefer that any day over giving people options. This was an interesting one. What platforms help support teams get information in real time to wish people happy birthdays? That should, it really depends. It depends on your CRM system. Sometimes you can house some of that, that information. If you don't house that information, it might be a little more difficult to get the happy birthday. It all depends on what CRM system you're using for your customers. I love this question. What are the most important things to keep in mind as you begin a CSM team from scratch? When you're beginning, Ian, when you're beginning a CSM team from scratch, I think it is all about the people you choose. And I think the thing that you are looking for people is really a passion for customers and a passion for helpfulness. So you really want to find people who can be advocates for your customers. Kim, this is a great question. Any thoughts on what you can do to thank customers when you manage at a high volume? That's a big one. So I think to me, managing at a high volume is really about figuring out the program. This is where you have to programatize it, right? And so you have to think about, are you going to go with something that is specific to your brand? Are you going to go with something that's a logo? Are you going to go with like maybe, I don't know, socks? That's a popular one at Sendoso is our branded socks. Or are you going to go with something that is a little more easy to get out the door, like something like a white paper or a thank you note? That's probably it. It's probably up to you as your company, but I think the biggest thing around it is trying to figure out how you make that program. Okay, any additional questions? I'm hoping I got to all of them. Oh, this is another one from Morgan. I have 30 seconds left to answer this question. Should all gifts be for the sole purpose of gifting, or is swag okay? Swag is absolutely okay. Everybody loves swag. I'm sorry. At the end of the day, we're in technology. We love swag. So I think swag is perfectly fine. It's about figuring out, though, in that moment in terms of what kind of swag you want to send somebody. Is it going to be a Yeti mug? Is it going to be a t-shirt? Is it a branded notebook? I think that's what you have to figure out.